well, it came as a shock that they were naming me captain at the age of 12. So that was a bit of a shock for
Yeah.
me. The cameraman would always show this. If a bowler was bowling something that he was getting whacked for, you'd see Dhoni running the next ball, just
Yeah.
going and saying something to him. And next minute, there's like this magical moment, like when he brought in Joginder Sharma to bowl the last over of the T20 World Cup. Everyone said, "What's wrong with him? Why is he bringing someone who got absolutely hammered in his last over?" When we finally got exposed to watching women's cricket on TV, Ellyse is someone that I think a lot of girls look up to, but I do personally as well because she set the bar in so many ways, and I was lucky enough to meet her and play with her when they came down to Abu Dhabi. I would say Virat Kohli as well, but he's just such an all-round performance, and he's such a key player to have on the field. I'm pretty sure he can do anything at this point because he's even bowled and
Yeah.
gotten wickets. Like you look at the Sangakkara and you look at so many Brian Lara, just the way they are, like it's just something else to see a left-hand bat watch
The
them play.
elegance and class.
It sets them
Yeah.
apart, right? Like it's
Yeah.
something else. When I scored my first century in club cricket in Karnataka was a very pivotal moment for me because that was the highest score I've ever scored.
Hello and welcome to Cricket Times. Today we are thrilled to have with us the iconic cricketer from UAE, Natasha Cherriath. As a former cricket team's captain of UAE, of course, Natasha has played a pivotal role when it comes to shaping the future of women's cricket in the region. So without further ado, let's welcome Natasha on our show. Hi, Natasha. Welcome to Cricket Time. It's an extreme honor to have you.
Hi, Akshat. Thank you so much for having me.
Right. So, tell us about your cricketing journey. How it all began for you.
Well, my actual cricketing journey was probably when I was 4 or 5, and I got my first plastic cricket bat for my family. And in a little space of our room, the floor would be a 4 and the ceiling would be a 6. So that's how I learned the game. But I do have to thank my family for that because I was sort of always immersed in cricket ever since I was a kid. And that got my interest basically. My dad, my uncles, we would watch every cricket match, especially if India was playing. Every World Cup, we'd be staying up no matter what the time zone was. So that's how I started essentially playing cricket and got introduced to it because that was fun for me. And then one day, we thought, I guess my parents thought, how about putting her into for some coaching? And this was UAE back in like 2004, 2005. And women playing cricket wasn't something that was actually around at that point, especially in this part of the world. So we met my first ever coach, Shehzad Altaf, who I practically owe a lot of my cricketing sort of career to because he had to take special permissions from the Sharjah Cricket Board to get me to play cricket with the boys because there were only boys playing at that time. And I
Yeah.
remember he handed me my first ever like wooden bat, and it was really heavy for me. And but in my head I was like, I need to probably work harder to lift this thing. And I was at Sharjah Cricket Stadium, and they were tossing me a couple of balls, and it just felt right. It just felt like this was something that I was supposed to do. And thankfully, I guess I had the talent to back me up. So it kind of worked. And then from there, we sort of they had a inter-school tournament just for girls, and we had a lot of interest. So at that point, they brought in Smitha Hari Krishna, who's an ex-Indian cricketer, and
Yeah.
Pramila Bhatt. So they came down and they coached us, they trained us. Then we had our first ever UAE women's sort of camp where you had to go through a series of drills and sessions. And I mean, if you think about it, we had only played inter-school cricket. We didn't play any
Yeah.
level of professional cricket, and at that point, it was all fun, but at the same time, it was exciting because the thought of representing a country when you're in your teens is something that people just dream of, or people probably don't think it's a possibility. Then the UAE women's team was formed, and well, it came as a shock that they were naming me captain at the age of 12. So that was a bit of a shock
Yeah.
for me. But honestly, obviously, was very honored that I could because we did have people who were much, much older on our team. And the fact that they entrusted me with something like this at a young age, it felt good to be held responsible to some extent. Um, but I always enjoyed the game. So I think that helped with all the pressures around it. Yeah.
Yeah. As you said, you explained that you became captain at a very young age, right? 12, 13 years. That's not even an age, pretty young age. And
Yeah.
you were like leading UAE team in the 2007 ACC Women's Championship, I believe. So, could you tell us about that experience? Leading a team, a professional team at such a young age, and what was that feeling?
Well, it was a lot of deep breaths and a lot of okay, I can do this moments. But again, I think because of the kind of people I had around me, like whether it was the teammates, whether it was our vice captain at the time, who was it was funny because her name is Meena Shankar, and her daughter was also playing on the team. So for
Okay.
the way Smita Harikrishna, Pramila Bhatt all sort of made me feel very comfortable and very because I mean, if you think about it, I was still learning the field positions at that time. Like I didn't know
Yeah.
names of certain positions. I would be on the field. I've watched a lot of cricket, but it's one thing to watch and say, "Oh, that point fielder should move a little bit in," and versus being on the ground and telling your teammates to move at certain angles. So I think the first tournament was about just sort of generating that game awareness at some point because we were still getting into the zone. Now we got, you know, thrown into a tournament with the likes of Bangladesh, who at that time were
Yeah.
an associate nation who were just coming up. And we did have an embarrassing defeat of 9 all out, which was the first sort of shock that we received. But I think the resilience that the team sort of showed during that time was what made it easier for me because it would have been very easy to just be like, yeah, I shouldn't do this anymore, or for the board to say, okay, we should change the captain right now. But I think
Yeah.
everyone knew it was still like at a very, very, you know, development sort of stage, and there were only expectations of us sort of maintaining decorum, behaving in a certain way so that, we're representing a nation and, sort of letting that
Yeah.
sink in. So it was a very I do owe a lot of that part of my life to the person I become today, if I can say anything, because I was thrown into failure and defeat immediately. So whenever I meet someone, I'm like, if you've not gone through failure, it's coming your way, and that will like really teach you a lot in life because that's something that it's inevitable and that's the only way you learn. And we just got
Yeah.
better ever since then. So I mean, look at UAE women's cricket today. So it's yeah, it's a great journey.
Yeah. Truly, truly. See, the UAE women's cricket team, as you said, that it has been, growing rapidly now. So, how do you see the future of UAE women's cricket team currently?
We've got immense talent. If you pull out every individual on the current team, or the teams that are going to come ahead, and even in the girls that are there in the developmental stages, um, everyone's got a core talent, and you put them together, and you've got like this perfect magic pot that could do wonders. And I do see because we're very close to crossing that bar of making it into the T20 World Cup. We're just always maybe a one or two losses here and there short. Because with every tournament we're getting better. With every Asia Cup that we play, we're exposed to playing cricket with India, with Sri Lanka, with Pakistan, Bangladesh, and I think our my main hope would be that we play more tournaments with full member nations, or at least teams that are ranked higher than us, and we keep having like just now we I think they played trilateral with
Yeah.
Namibia.
Zimbabwe was the part,
Zimbabwe.
and your team defeated Zimbabwe in the finals.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, at one point, Zimbabwe and Kenya, when they had come to play like a Gulf Championship in Dubai years ago, it was such a big thing to defeat Kenya. But then they defeated
Yeah.
us in the finals. So now we're building on that strength, building on the talent that we have. Because right now, this core group of girls have been playing together for maybe about 5 to 6 years, and I hope they stick together. I hope that they achieve a lot more. And I hope that that T20 World Cup barrier is always going to be like a dream that you hope to at least make it in there so you can
Yeah.
make the T20 World Cup. And that's my one. It would feel like my dream coming true if they make it to the World Cup, like sort
Yeah.
of living through them. Um, but I do hope that, you know, the one thing with associate nations is also that every couple of years, maybe 6 to 8 years, it's a whole new team because people move away, people go to
Yeah.
study, or they need to balance work and play. And I hope that these girls actually stick around for longer. And at the same time, there's a nice sort of grassroots development that's happening. So when, there's a transition of these girls moving away, there's another group that's ready to take on, the next set of
Yeah,
youth kids. So yeah, my hope is that I hope that they always enjoy the game, no matter what. I think that's the bottom line for me. And then as you enjoy it, like the results will just keep coming in.
okay. Rolling back few years, when you started, so who were your role models while growing up?
Ooh, I actually had three different growing up. It started off with Rahul Dravid. He was someone that till date I will still, even as a coach, look up to. He did wonders with the under 19, and he still continues to do so. And now, of course, with the World Cup under his belt. Then there was Glenn McGrath. I thought he was a beautiful bowler because he was someone he wasn't the pace attack. He was just line and length to the key, reliable. Anytime you needed him, you could bring him in, and he'd be bowling in the same spot for the entire test match. So I really looked up to him as a bowler. And then, of course, as I grew up, the greatest Mahendra Singh Dhoni came into the picture, and he's been
Yeah.
stuck ever since. So yeah, these three would be. And then, of course, when we finally got exposed to watching women's cricket on TV, Ellyse Perry is someone that I think a lot of girls look up to, but I do personally as well because she set the bar in so many ways. And I was lucky enough to meet her and play with her when they came down um, to Abu Dhabi during the WPL. So we had the Sydney Sixers and the Sydney Thunder come down. So we had like a little we were lucky to sort of train with them for one session and just to see her work ethic. Like to give you an example, training was done, and this was like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour training session. Everyone's leaving, and she's doing like her hard yards, like she's running shuttle runs, and she's got her. And this is like summer in Dubai, so it's not easy to like be out there in the sun and do like almost like a yo-yo timing sort of shuttle
Yeah, yeah.
run. So yeah, she's amazing, absolutely amazing.
True, true. And especially with the fact that she belongs to Australia, so coming
Yeah,
here and training so hard. So yeah.
yeah.
Tell us about the reaction of your family. When back in those days you decided to pursue a professional career for
Yeah.
in cricket.
Mhm. I think more than anything, my mom and dad have always been, they are the reason for a lot of things in my life. And cricket is, of course, one of them because for them to say, to be supportive and to encourage me and to wake up every weekend, they didn't have weekends because of me. They'd have to wake up at the same time I had to go for training because they had to drop me, they had to be there the whole time. So they had to wake up at 5 in the morning, make me food, make sure I'm well hydrated and my clothes are ready. Because I mean, I was just 13, 14 at that time. So everything from a life perspective, but also additionally a cricketing career perspective, I owe it to my parents for that. Because if I didn't have their support, none of this would have been possible. So for them, they there was never a, oh, let's not do this or let's focus on something else. They were head on saying, yeah, let's go for training. They would push me to do harder. They give me criticism and feedback when and if needed. But they always knew where to draw that line. So the coaches there to do their job. So they wouldn't intervene with my cricketing skills in that sense. They would just be there to guide. And then they'd always be there for every match. I think both my parents or one of them would always be there for every game that we played.
Uh, we know that, and you also expressed earlier that MS Dhoni has been, your inspiration and a great, character figure in your life as a cricketer. So,
Yeah.
what were the qualities of MS Dhoni that you looked up to his leadership, and what was that leadership that you thought that okay, this is the quality that I'd like to imply in my captaincy as well?
I think it was the the way he is calm during pressure situations. I think that's the key element because it's very easy to lose your cool when things around you are not going so well, especially if because he's always talked about controllables, like only
Yeah,
focus on things that you can control, and that's very important because in a situation, you're 11 players on a field. If six of them are having a bad day, there's nothing you can do about that. But all you can do is maybe encourage the other five who are doing well to speak to the other six, saying, hey, it's fine, guys, we'll work on this together. What's going wrong? Like he always has that knack of saying something to the bowler or saying something to the fielder, where the cameraman would always show this. If a bowler was bowling something that he was getting whacked for, you'd see Dhoni running the next ball, just going and saying something to him. And next minute, there's like this magical moment, like when he brought in Joginder Sharma to bowl the last over of the T20 World Cup. Everyone said, what's wrong with him? Why is he bringing someone who got absolutely hammered in his last over? But it's that ability to tell your player that, hey, I trust you and you've got this. And I think that mentality and just the way he is on the field, um, it's all actions. And I truly believe in that more than saying words. It's his actions that would sort of, that made me truly look up to him as a leader, but also as a person. Yeah.
Okay, if I may ask you, what has been the most defining moment of your career? If you could pick one or two, maybe.
A defining moment. Wow. That's a very good question. Put me on the spot with that one. I think there would be two things. I think one would be probably um, one of our first wins at an ACC championship, because we had gone through a series of losses and it was very hard to believe that we could do something like this. And I remember us beating, I can't remember, I believe it was Qatar that we beat for the first time in an ACC tournament, or Oman. I'm not too sure, it's a bit blurry at this time, but it wasn't only because, I performed or something like that. It was because you could see the relief on everyone's face that, okay, we can actually do this. We can actually defeat a team. And there's no better feeling than that first defeat as a team, because I remember there are certain moments and almost like you could call it gifs in my head from that match, where there was a teammate of mine who dived and stopped the ball and then hit a direct throw, and there was a run out, and that was a pivotal moment in the match. And it's almost like a core memory in my head, where there's a picture I think that came out in a newspaper in Dubai, where we're all just ecstatic. And that was like that moment. I'm so glad I got frozen in time, because that's something that's like stuck in my head. Everyone is elated, like, just like
Yeah.
screaming and shouting, and that moment was captured. So that would be one. Um, and a second one would probably be because I did move to India in 2016 to play for, I had dreams of playing for India. And I made it to the Karnataka under 19 and state team fairly quickly. And I think those were, because it was difficult for me. I moved there without my parents. Again, my parents were very supportive about it, but I'd moved into a whole other ball game, if you may say. So,
Yeah.
moving from a bubble like UAE and going into India and going to Karnataka and staying in Bangalore. I think those were very, like when I scored my first century in club cricket in Karnataka was a very pivotal moment for me, because that was the highest score I've ever scored. And for me to
Yeah.
score that in a place for the first time, because I remember one of my teammates saying, if you need to be noticed, you need to do something like big here. There's a lot of competition. So they really pushed me. And I think that century and then making it to under 19 and state were really big moments in my life. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the answer. What advice would you like to give, to the young girls who look up to cricket as a professional career?
Um, I think one thing would be that no matter how talented you are, there's always room for improvement and learning. Like, never stop learning. I think that would be my first sort of advice for anyone starting out, or because you do have so many talented cricketers, boys and girls. And I think it's very easy for it to get into your head that, oh, I have talent, so I'll make it. It's fine. But
Yeah.
talent will only take you so far. You need to be working really hard every day. And now you have so many things that you can watch on YouTube and follow your cricketers and follow their regimes and see what they do to achieve that sort of athletic, goals that they want to achieve. So that would be one. And I think two would always be to be humble and be down to earth about no matter what your achievements are. And it's a team sport, and to never forget that. Um, Always remember that you're not alone on the field, and also you're
Yeah.
not the only one on the field, if that makes any sense. So just try to be as humble as you are. And the last thing is to just enjoy the game. Like I would do anything to play cricket at any time of the day. So if I had that choice today with life, I would 100% do that. Yeah, just keep enjoying the game. I think that's very key. I think we tend to forget that in the in the whole mess of, oh, I need to score so many runs, or I need to take so many wickets, I
Yeah.
need to get just or things like that. Yeah, that would be my three, I guess, three advice moments for them. Yeah.
All right. All right. Who do you think was the most challenging bowler that you faced in your career so far?
Challenging bowler. Um, I did face Julian Goswami at one point in my life for one over, and it was the most nerve-wracking over of my life because I was just told to just stay, don't get out. Whatever you do, don't get out.
Yeah.
So I think facing her in the nets definitely was, something that was difficult, and I do believe that Thailand, as an associate nation, when we were growing up and playing with them, up until I stopped playing in 2022, they have a very, very talented bowling attack. And they are another set of bowlers who are very consistent. They're slow, it moves in the air, but they're very consistent with their line and length. So I would say the Thailand bowling attack has always been a challenge for me. And I think for a lot of countries in general, because I mean, kudos to Thailand for the way they've sort of grown and made it, and they've played a
Yeah.
World Cup, so they know what it's like to be in that pressure situations. And I think for us, it's always like, oh, we need to beat Thailand, we need to beat Thailand, because that was a benchmark for us for a very long time. And yeah, no, they've got a amazing set of talented cricketers, and their board is definitely doing things in the right direction in terms of development. So yeah, I would say those are my two uh, bowling attacks and bowler that it's been a bit of a challenge to face. Yeah.
Okay. You have a passion for photography. So, how did you manage both things, cricket and your passion in your journey?
I think that word passion is what got me through it. That was
Yeah.
probably the only reason I could balance both, because I would do my 9 to 6 job, and then just to give you an example, in like I would work in one part of Dubai, and I'd have to travel at least an hour and a half to get to the training, which was on the other side of town. So nine to
Yeah.
six at work, get to training by maybe 7:38, train till 11 p.m., and then repeat that for 4 times a week, which was exhausting because next day, my boss would be like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "I'm great. My body's working. It's fine."
Yeah.
But it was the excitement that would, encourage me to go. I would be excited to go for training. I'd be excited to like go and hit the nets or field, Like I love fielding drills. If we start off with fielding drills, then I'm like happy for the rest of the session. So um passion, I think, is the key word that you used. Without that, I wouldn't have been able to. It was because it was very difficult. And it's not just for me, it's for a lot of girls playing growing up. At some point, we had to decide between our careers in cricket and an actual career in the real world. Because unfortunately, cricket wouldn't be able to sustain us. So we had to, do both. And I think it was passion to do work to earn money, but at the same time, passion to continue playing cricket because we just loved it so much.
Okay. You spoke about fielding drills and you enjoyed,
Mhm.
the drills of fielding. So, if I may ask you about, picking the three uh, best fielders in the cricketing world.
Ooh, Ravindra Jadeja, hands down. Best, fastest, most accurate. Just so light on his feet. I think you should just. He's amazing. Then we've got. I do believe that Alyssa Healy, who's the Australian women's captain and wicketkeeper. She's an excellent
Yeah.
wicketkeeper. Reflexes are top notch, and she's just very smart. I think she's very switched on, and across all formats, whether it's Tests, T20, ODI, she's absolutely brilliant. Um, then I think it would have to be. I would say Virat Kohli as well, but he's just such an all-round performance, and he's such a key player to have on the field. I'm pretty sure he can do anything at this point because he's even bowled and
Yeah.
gotten wickets. Yeah, I think those three, and of course there are a few South African players who really stand out because they're really good, like David Miller, Faf du Plessis. I think they're brilliant, brilliant fielders.
Yeah. True. True. Great choices. So, as we were discussing about your passion for photography, is there any moment that you want to capture, like your dream moment?
Uh, that's a very good question. Does it have to be cricket related or anything?
Anything you could name cricket related as well.
Okay. Cricket related, I think um, probably the moment that the UAE women's team make it to the T20 World Cup. If I'm able to be there, firstly, and
Yeah.
capture that moment, I think that would be because most of the times when they play a particular match, it's not, or at least it wouldn't be live streamed. So I'd be following the match on some um, cricketing platform like ESPN or
Yeah.
things like that. And sometimes there's a lag, right? So something would happen, and then I would be messaging a former teammate of mine, and we'd get on a call just to discuss the match. We're like, oh my gosh, she got out. What is she doing? Or oh, they got a wicket.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I'm hoping that I'm able to actually be there in person the moment that happens because I do believe that moment's not too far away. It's just a little bit of a push. So that would be one. And I think I did have a really good opportunity. So I think I have gotten a moment already where I did go for the Women's World Cup in Melbourne in 2020, and I was there at the finals and capturing 84,000 people at the stadium was probably the highlight of any like female athletes like life
Yeah.
to see so many people show up. So yeah.
So, did you watch the performance of Katy Perry?
Yeah, yeah, we did. I think we kind of have, we were not, I wouldn't say forced, but you were there, so you just stayed on. It just made sense.
Okay. Uh, what do you think about who do you think like the aspiring cricketers or not the aspiring one, but the ones who have a bright future in the current
Mhm.
UAE team?
Oh, there's so many. If I don't name all of them, I think I'd feel bad. But definitely Isha Oza. She's
Yeah.
such a talented cricketer and such a key opening bat for UAE and has been for so many years. And I've literally seen her grow, and it's amazing to see what she's doing today and the things that she's achieved. And again, I think if you ever ask her, she'd say, her parents have been the key behind her success because they have been there at every game, whether it's a practice session, whether it's a match. They've always shown up. Like uncle and auntie are always there, and I think that's very
Yeah.
commendable. Um, then we've got Tirtha Satish as well, who is excellent wicketkeeper and also left-hand bat. And I think lefties come with their own class. I've always looked at left-hand batsmen, like you look at the Sangakkara and you look at so many Brian Lara, just the way they are, like it's just something else to see
Yeah.
a left-hand bat
The
watch them.
elegance and class.
It sets them
Yeah.
apart, right? Like it's
Yeah.
something else, something else. And then we've got Vaishnavi Mahesh, who I think is an excellent leggy. She's still so young, and there's still such a long way to go. But she's got that raw talent in her, which I think is something that would only get nurtured, will only get better. And I just hope the best for her. And obviously, we've also got I feel like saying veteran, but we've got Kavisha Kumari, who's been with
Yeah.
UAE for so long and an excellent fielder as well. She's got a bullet arm. I think, you put her in any position in the field, especially in the boundary, you're not taking a second run off her. She's got a crazy arm right there, and I think that's something definitely to look forward to. But I feel bad to not name the rest, but these are the key players that come to mind. And they're just so much talent. I mean, we also had Mahika, who now plays for England. So
Yeah.
she moved and she was an excellent talent, and we were lucky enough to play together for Asia Cup before she moved on to England. But she took a brilliant catch at the boundary, and that's still, again, that's like a core memory in my head because I saw it happen in front of me. So there's just so much talent, and I just hope that they continue and they just get better from there.
Okay. See, UAE is going to be hosting the Women's T20 World Cup. It's a big event. Uh, how excited are you for this first, and your predictions regarding the semi-finalists and the winner?
Oh wow. It's a very, very big moment because obviously it's supposed to be in Bangladesh, and then unfortunately, with everything happening in Bangladesh, we moved here. And it's nice that you can just go, it's literally in your backyard. You can just go anytime during the week during the World Cup and just go watch a game or catch a game. And now the practice matches are starting soon. So, girls are making plans to just go see them, how they play behind the scenes, and, what they do and what they discuss. So very exciting because I think there are a lot of girls over here who would love to see this live. I mean, it's one thing to watch it on TV and it's one thing to witness a game in person, regardless of the crowd showing up. I think just to personally go and see it is a big enough deal to see your idols like playing on the field. Um, in terms of predictions, I do think that the semifinals will probably be the big four, but you never know with the surprise coming in. I do see Australia, India, England. Um, the fourth place is a toggle between South Africa and West Indies. I think that's something that I can't really clearly see at the moment. It just depends on how they play in the tournament. Um, and the winning team, because I do have a soft spot for Australia, I think it might be Australia, but I'm also hoping that India win the World Cup this time because they have a really, really good team.
Okay. Last question regarding this segment. Who's going to be the player of the tournament?
You're asking me some big questions today. Player of the tournament. Let's see. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that's going to be Jemmy from India. I
Okay.
have a feeling that this is her tournament. She's going to click somehow and going to take India all the way. Yeah.
All right. So now, moving on to the next segment of our conversation, I'm going to be giving you two choices. It's going to be this or that round. So,
Okay.
are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, done.
ODIs or T20Is?
T20s.
Okay. Hitting a match-winning six or picking a hat trick?
Match winning six.
Okay. MS Dhoni or Sachin Tendulkar?
MS Dhoni.
Virat Kohli or Babar Azam?
Virat Kohli.
Okay. Meg Lanning or Smriti Mandhana?
Ooh, Meg Lanning.
Okay. India or UAE?
Oh, um, let's say UAE for today.
Okay. Okay. WPL or WBBL?
WBBL.
Okay. Chocolate or ice cream?
Chocolate. Because I'm lactose
Okay.
intolerant. I have ice cream.
Okay. Okay. Um, hitting at gym or chilling out with friends?
Chilling out with friends.
Okay. Thank you. Now another segment we are moving towards. It's the rapid fire round. You must be aware of what this round is all about. So shall I begin?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Your favorite cricket shot?
Cover drive.
Your go-to snack before entering the field?
A granola bar.
Okay. Uh, your three favorite cricketers of all time?
Rahul Dravid, MS Dhoni, Ellyse.
Okay. Last song that you listen to?
Yellow by Coldplay.
Wow, nice. One superpower you wish you had.
Teleportation.
Okay. Best advice you have ever received.
Um, ooh, uh, just feel what you have to feel.
Okay. One thing you like to change about cricket.
Mm, I think women should play more test matches.
All right. Your favorite cricket ground.
Ooh. Um, I think purely because of the memories, Sharjah Cricket Stadium.
Okay. One thing you cannot live without.
My family and friends.
Okay. So we are heading towards the end now. There's just one small segment that what we do is we name few cricketers and you
Mhm.
have to pick one quality from them.
Okay,
All right.
got it.
So okay. So MS Dhoni,
Leadership,
Virat Kohli,
attitude,
Ellyse Perry,
resilience,
Sophie Ecclestone,
mindset,
okay, Harmanpreet Kaur,
um, strength,
okay, and last Sachin Tendulkar.
um, oof, I know I should be saying this on the spot, but there's so many words for him. I think it would have to be probably again like persistence. Yeah.
Okay. So that was it. Thank you so much, Natasha, for
Oh,
being
thank
so
you.
sporty. Anything you want to say in your finishing lines or touch?
No, I mean, thank you for this opportunity. I mean, when I heard about this and I was told about this from Rashpal, I literally was like, this is amazing, and thank you for doing this for women cricketers across the board. I think it's very important to highlight different stories from like women's cricket and their journeys, because everyone's journeys are just so drastically different but also same. So it's nice to watch these and engage with different cricketers and hear their stories. So yeah, no, thank you to you guys for doing this.
Thank you so much. It's really, it was a pleasure to have you, and we wish you all the best for your future endeavors, and we wish to see, the growth of UAE cricket team, and all the best.